Proposition D, which limits the number of medical marijuana dispensaries in Los Angeles, is at the heart of our exclusive conversation with Eugene Walde, president of Quality Genetix. I'm Michael Reel, and this is RealUrbanNews.com.
Hi, I'm Eugene, president of Quality Genetix, Beverly Hills. Come on in.
It's funny because this marijuana that we're seeing, this medical marijuana that we're seeing now, is not the marijuana that we grew up with as children. You know, normally when we think of marijuana, we think of just getting a joint and moving on.
Yes.
But Quality Genetix, under your leadership, has taken that to another level.
Yeah, most definitely. We generally have different ranges of THC levels. In our flower, we have anywhere from a mid-shelf to a top shelf. What you guys are pretty much used to from back in the days would be your lower percentage. You have to smoke a J or two to to feel the effects. So right nowadays you only got to take 1 puff, 2 puffs, go ahead and put it out. So to me it's safer on the lungs. You're only taking 1 or 2 hits versus smoking a whole J or to feel the same sort of effects at the end of the day.
You're 30 years old.
Yes.
What was the genesis for you getting involved in this line of work, in this business?
What really brought me into this industry was the fact that my migraine headaches, I had a tumor behind my right eye, the size of my eye, that caused migraine headaches to the point where you can't sleep. Medical marijuana was the only thing, my indicas were the only thing that actually subsided those pains. I knew right then and there when I had to quit smoking so I could locate another job. That's when my headaches just pounded. Got my CAT scan done, and they found a tumor the size of my eye behind my eye. That got me into this field, and it opened my eyes to know that, why are we subject to taking these over-the-counter drugs when we know our body don't like it, and we're subject to taking those as our only alternative? And being this medicine was what helped me to push through. I wanted to make it available to everybody else, and I'm going to stand behind it, and I'm going to fight for it till the end.
Are you the face here in Southern California of medical marijuana?
Being as a patient, yes, I am. As a dispensary owner, I am, but I mostly want to show that in terms of patients, it's patients come first at the end of the day. Without the patients, there is no dispensaries.
Eugene, in terms of Southern California's Proposition D law that deals with medical marijuana dispensaries like Quality Genetix, where do we stand?
Well, Michael, everything in terms of medical marijuana has been changing on a monthly basis. The legal landscape is ever changing in terms of new laws, new provisions, new ordinances, banning and still regulating medical marijuana. Right now, Prop D is asking for all dispensaries that opened up after 2007 to close down. And unfortunately, we did open up a year ago, but there is a legal defense in regards to Prop D that we are going by right now.
Prior to Proposition D law passing here in Southern California, there were well over 400 plus medical marijuana dispensaries.
Yes, that is correct. Well, essentially, Michael, there were supposed to be 1,000 said to be. UCLA had just did a recent study. They went around and checked all these addresses, and it wasn't 1,000. It was about 500 that's currently operating. But in the city of LA, their books show about 1,000 registered. But not necessarily all of them are still open because, like I said, the legal landscape changing, shops are getting opening, shutting down on a monthly basis. So essentially, it's all statistics. And currently, right now, with Prop D going through, they want to limit the dispensaries down to about 134 collectors.
You're one of the few dispensaries here in Southern California. How challenging has it been for you to remain open and remain viable and servicing this specialized customer base?
To be honest, Michael, it's been a very tough battle. I could say, being that this is my second location, my first location is still pending in appeals in the California Fourth Court of Appeals, and we're still waiting on that one. So it's hard to say that you have a future in this industry because it changes so much and so rapidly. Medical marijuana is not going anywhere. At the end of the day, you know, the patients are going to still need their meds. We have to get the politics and the logistics behind this all in line before we can progress any further. Because at the end of the day, we're stuck behind politics and lobbyists behind these laws and these ordinances and regulations that are going on.
We were speaking off camera before we sat in this setting, and we were talking about how California, one would think, would be leading in terms of medical marijuana and sales to the public for medical use. But we see states like Colorado leading. Are you surprised that California is taking a backseat?
Michael, I'm very surprised, being the fact that California is supposed to be the forefront. We're supposed to be the front lines of this whole industry. And at the end of the day, we still are, but yet we have Colorado and Washington who actually legalize it recreationally. That being said, that puts us on the back burner that much more. In
terms of your product, in addition to being a distributor and running a dispensary, you're also a grower.
Yes, I am actually the grower of Quality Genetix. That's where my heart is. The growing essentially has not been harmed in terms of legal aspects. What it seems like is California is literally pushing everybody to grow their own medicine, but what people don't understand, it's not that easy. It's not just throw a seed in the ground and watch it grow. That doesn't produce quality. You know, it doesn't produce quality. You have to have experience. You know what I mean? To go 3 months from seed to product, it's 3 months, and if you don't do it right, that's 3 months wasted down the drain. And what these cities officials don't understand, that a lot of people don't have the time, money, or space to grow their own medicine, grow it efficiently, and grow it to where it's consumable. So what we have here, we have just the different varieties of flowers available here at Quality Genetix. We have our Alien OG, we have our Presidential Caviar, Presidential RX Caviar, we have our Platinum Master Boba, and we also have a Lemon Pie. These just show different variations of flowers that our patients tend to like, and to actually treat their certain conditions that they may have. We have any ones that will actually, we have flavors that will actually stimulate creative thinking, as well as ones that will actually help you go to sleep and stimulate appetite.
What are most people coming to you for with the medical challenges? What are they looking for? What are they trying to find relief from?
A lot of people actually generally come in for pain relief. Pain relief is generally our number one concern, which we would then shoot them to a nice heavy indica. Our Presidential RX Caviar is probably the highest strength indica dominant medicine that we have here on the shelf. It's a concentrated flower, which definitely does the job. 1 or 2 hits, you're okay. It's perfectly fine.
One of the bad raps this industry has is, in discussing this, people believe that someone can just walk off the street, namely teenagers, kids, young adults, can just walk off the street into a dispensary and purchase marijuana.
So that's a big stereotype, you know what I mean? And that essentially is what puts that negative looks on shops. In medical marijuana in the state of California, you have to have a doctor's recommendation. We won't see you unless you go visit your physician first and get a doctor's recommendation saying that this is the valid alternative to your ailments, to your conditions that you may require this sort of alternative wellness versus anything else prescription-wise, anything like that. That rap in terms of anybody being able to come in, we're just as strict as nightclubs, bars, and everything like that. Maybe even more strict, I would say, because at bars, all you have to do is have an ID. Over here, you need an ID, a doctor's recommendation. We have to call and verify that you're a legit patient. There's a lot of steps. You have to sign a collective agreement, so it's ultimately that much more protected than really anything else. You know what I mean? And in medical marijuana, at the end of the day, it's the least harmful drug out there. You know what I mean?
What kind of testimonials do your clients share with you? Do they say, hey man, thank you for this, thank you for that, this worked, I was able to sleep last night, I was able to eat today, I was able to, my headaches were stayed, I was not as nauseous, What do they say? What do they tell you?
Michael, that's what I definitely love to hear. Definitely from my patients. Being that we do supply wide varieties of flowers, from indica sativas to hybrids. When their ailment, when they mention their ailment to me, I'm able to kind of guide them into a medicine that's actually going to cater to them. And with these testimonials of my patients, it's just amazing to see how much this helps, and the fact that they're weeding off these prescription stuff, all these harder drugs, and staying with something that's organic, grown from the earth.
Let me ask you this, and I know you're not a medical doctor, but do you see this medical marijuana really taking root as it has in Colorado and in Washington, and really spanning out over the country where people will be turning to this?
Yes, almost half
this type of medicine.
Almost half of the states in the United States have already approved medical marijuana. We haven't hit the halfway marker yet, but in due time we will. I see such a progressive movement in this industry that it's not going anywhere. At the end of the day, it's not going anywhere. The patients aren't going anywhere. We just need to deal with the politicians behind the politicians, the city council members. We need to group together as a community to show that this medicine is a viable alternative to anything else out there, you know what I mean? And it's not destructive, and it could provide revenue. And I don't see it going anywhere anytime soon. And I just see more and more states opening with open arms in regards to it.
Eugene, so it's safe to say that these dispensaries, for now, will be around.
The dispensaries, yes, they will be around. A numerical number on it, I couldn't tell you. That's why, like I said, this legal landscape is ever changing so much. There's never a sure number. There's no viable. I mean, LA would say 134, but in 2 months now it could be down to 50. You know,
you're on the cutting edge, the front line of this fight.
Yes.
How realistic is it that, from your perspective, that these dispensaries will last?
I guarantee that they will last, but being the laws changing so much, I couldn't tell you who's gonna be that much more aggressive in terms of cities and counties being more aggressive to shut shops down. There's so many that just shut down in the last 2 months. It's so overwhelming. You know what I mean? It's very it's scary, and it's more so scary for the patients because they don't have access at the end of the day. You know what I mean? But what I see is there's going to be cities and counties that have ordinances allowing for maybe 1, 2, or 3. LA for 134. But everywhere else, I mean, you still got to travel 50 or so miles to get to LA if you live in the Empire.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So it's about being, it's about local and safe access for the patients at the end of the day.
So this right here is Presidential RX. What it is the OG Kush. It's infused with OG Kush oil, tested at 57%, and then it's rolled in OG Kush Key. It's 800 milligrams, I believe, of THC, and half a gram of hash.
Eugene, as we look around Southern California, we have Century City to our far west. We have the Hollywood Hills behind us, Beverly Hills adjacent. We have downtown to our far east and all between.
Yes.
From your perspective, how expansive, how large is this medical marijuana dispensary industry?
Medical marijuana itself is just as vast as the patients. Patients are located everywhere, Mike. You can find shops from, like you said, from West LA all the way to East Riverside. It's all about what shops are willing to fight for the patients, stay open, and fight city council and hold their spot, and hold their ground. Stop getting bullied by these cities.
These cities.